Hello everyone and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. We're holding a Mishnah Berurah Chelek Gimel, and today, Mirat Hashem, we will be learning Daf Mem Amid Beis. We are continuing to learn Hilchos Shabbos. We're going to pick up today on Mem Amid Aleph. We have just a little bit left to Siman Reish Samachay, so we're going to be picking up in Reish Samachay in the middle of Sif Daled, 3 lines off the bottom in the Shulchan Aruch at the beginning of the line, Umikol Makom. Our learning should be a schus for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Hanesunim Batzaru Bashivya, Ha'imdim Bein Bayam Ubein Bayabasha, Hamakom Yirachem Aleihem, V'yetziim Mitzar L'Rvacha Me'afelu L'Oiro Mishibed L'Geula, Hashta Bagolo V'zman Kariv V'Neimar Amen. So it's here in Siman Reish Samachay, we've been learning the halachos of what happens when somebody wants to put a keli underneath a nair, either to catch oil that's dripping out of the nair, or maybe to catch the tiny little coal at the tip of the wick that fell off and you want to put a plate there so nothing should get damaged or ignited. Or how about little sparks falling down? We learned about somebody who wants to put a bowl of water underneath the nair in order to catch anything that's falling down. Now, when we learned about that, the Mechaber told us here in Sif Daled, Lo yitein l'soichai mayim afilu min ba'od yom. You're not allowed to set up a bowl under the nair full of water, and you're not even allowed to do that on Erev Shabbos. And we explained the reason you're not allowed to do that is Xera. You wouldn't be allowed to do this on Shabbos. And we learned this according to the Aruch HaShulchan, according to Taisus. The Mishnah Berurah is not so clear on it. And we learned that the reason you're not allowed to do this is because on Shabbos, we wouldn't let you do this, because this is not only gram kivui, it's very close at least to actual kivui. Says Taisus, we're afraid somebody might take the bowl full of water. He might actually not just put it down under the nair, he might lift up the bowl and put it to where the sparks are falling down. That would be direct kivui. Also, the way the Aruch HaShulchan explains it, he says when you put a bowl full of water underneath a nair to catch burning sparks, there's nothing being mafsik, there's nothing interposed between the falling sparks and the water that you're putting there. So this is not gram kibui, said Taisvis, this is direct kibui. So you're not allowed to put a bowl full of water underneath the nair. You're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. You're also not allowed to do it on Erev Shabbos as a Xera. We're not going to let you do it on Erev Shabbos, so you should not come to do it on Shabbos itself. Now, the Mechaber goes to a slightly different case, and this is something that a lot of people do. A lot of people light with oil, and they use these glass cups to use the oil, and then they put a wick in. But the glass cup might be this tall, and they don't want to use that much oil. They only want to use that much oil. So what do? They put water in the bottom of the cup. Then they put oil on top of the water. We know that oil and water don't mix, so the oil floats on top of the water. And then they put in a wick, and the wick is going into the oil, not into the water. Okay, now, wonders the Mechaber. The Mechaber doesn't wonder. The Mechaber is going to tell us the halacha. But if you take a look at this, you might think for a minute, wait a second. I'm not allowed to put a bowl of water underneath a burning nair, even on Erev Shabbos. I'm not allowed to do that. Well, let's analyze this case. Am I not putting water underneath a burning nair on Erev Shabbos? I'm filling up the bottom of the glass with water. Then I'm putting in oil. Floating on top of the oil or inserted into the oil is a wick. And that's an air. It has a flame on it. So I'm setting up water underneath an air on Erev Shabbos. Am I allowed to do that? Says the Mechaber 3 lines off the bottom, Mem Amid Aleph. Despite the halacha that we learned yesterday, that you're not allowed to set up a bowl of water underneath an air. You're allowed to put water in a glass, that you're going to light the nair in, be'erev Shabbos. You're allowed to do that. Why, says the Mechaber? In this case, it has nothing to do with kibui. You're not putting that water in there to extinguish the flame when the flame comes down. That's not why you're doing it. The only reason you're putting it in there is because you wanted to lift up the oil, so to speak. What does that mean? You wanted to support the oil. but you're not doing it for anything that has to do with extinguishing. Let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah over here. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cut in your zayin. She'ena miskaven. You're not miskaven for kibui at all. Valkain, and therefore, like gazridan sheyasa kain b'Shabbos, we wouldn't be geyser that you're not allowed to do this on Erev Shabbos because you might come to do it on Shabbos. What are you going to do on Shabbos? What are you going to do? You're not doing kivui over here. You're not setting this up for kivui. As a matter of fact, what you're doing on Erev Shabbos is something that you can't even do on Shabbos. On Shabbos, you're not going to set up a nair to light an air. You're not going to take a glass on Shabbos, put in water, and then put in oil, and then light on it. You're not allowed to light anything on Shabbos. So there's no room here for Xera that we're not going to let you do this on Erev Shabbos because you might come to do it on Shabbos, and then there's nothing to do with kibui. Now, the Aruch HaShulchan, since we mentioned the Aruch HaShulchan yesterday, I'm just going to tell you what the Aruch HaShulchan has to say about this as well. The Aruch HaShulchan says over here, well, you know what? Let's wait for the Ramah. That was the Mechaber. Says the Ramah. 2 lines off the bottom. Hagah. The Yeshayim, there are those that say, says the Ramah, afilu miskaven likibui shari. The truth is, says the Ramah, even if you did put the water in the bottom, and your kavana was for kivui, what would that mean? Maybe you didn't put it in there because you wanted to use less oil. The reason you put it in there, let's say, is because you don't want the wick to burn all the way to the bottom of the glass. Maybe you're afraid if you fill up the whole glass with oil and the wick is going to burn all the way to the bottom of the glass, when it gets to the bottom of the glass, maybe the glass will bust. You want to make sure that doesn't happen. So you put water halfway up the glass so that when the nair reaches the water, it'll go out. So you actually were mechaven for kibui. Says the Ramah, yesh oimrim, that afilu miskaven likibui shari. Even if you're mechaven for kibui, it's still mutter to do this on Erev Shabbos. Why, says the Ramah? Me'achar she'ein hamayim ba'ayin. The water is not recognizable elo tachas hashemen. Where's the water in this case? The water is hiding underneath the oil. Now, when the Ramah says it's not ba'ayin elo tachas hashemen, what he means is, and this is the way the Aruch HaShulchan again learns it, is that the oil is not recognizable next to the nair. In other words, the oil is interposing between the nair and the mayim, right? There's a layer of water. On top of that, there's a layer of oil completely sealing off the water. On top of that is the nair. So says the Aruch HaShulchan, you know what the Ramah is saying? The Ramah is saying this is classic gram kivui. What's the classic case of gram kivui? I've mentioned this before. You take a keli full of water, you put it near a fire. The fire gets to it, it's an automated fire extinguisher. When the fire gets to the keli, it'll bust the keli, the water will come out, and it'll put out the fire. That is gram kivui. Says the Aruch HaShulchan, why is it gram kivui? Because you're not directly exposing the fire to the water or the water to the fire. No, there's a keli interposing. Says the Aruch HaShulchan, that's what the Ramah means here. What the Ramah means over here is that the mayim is only ba'ayin tachas hashemen. It is totally mufsik from the eish, from the nair. It's totally separated by the layer of oil. Therefore, this is classic gram kibui. So lo heavy ala gram kibui. This is only gram kibui, v'chein noyagin, and therefore we are taka noyag that this is mutter. You're allowed to do this. Put in the oil, the water, and then the oil, and then the nair. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cut in ches v'yesh oimrim. V'litein be'erev Shabbos b'ayim l'soicha koneh she'oimid boi ner shava oichelev k'dei sheyichbek she'yavai adamayim also l'kuli alma. This is very interesting. The Mishnah Berurah brings up a slightly different case. Let's say you take a candle. Let me just grab something over here. We're going to use... Here I have a pen. So the pen is going to be the candle. I don't have a keli handy. All right. You're going to have you have a candle. You have a glass or a keli. You're putting the candle inside the keli. So as the candle burns down, eventually it's going to enter the keli. You fill up the keli with mayim. Now the candle extends all the way to the bottom of the keli. You have water inside the keli. So when the candle burns down to the level of the water inside the keli, the candle is going to go out. Says the Mishnah Berurah, that's different than the case that we just had. In the case that we just had, the Ramah said, the mayim is not ba'ayin, the mayim is not recognizable only underneath the shemen. So like we explained, there is a layer of oil completely interposing between the oil and the candle. Over here, that's not the case. Over here, the water is completely visible inside the keli, and there's nothing interposing it between it and the candle. Now, the nair, the flame, happens to be on top of the candle, and the flame is not going to come into the water until it comes down. But now you have completely distinct water. There's nothing being mafsik between the flame and the water. The water is completely exposed. That, says the Mishnah Berurah, that's not gram kibui, that's usr. Interestingly enough, the Aruch HaShulchan rules that it's mutter. But we'll get to that in a minute. Says the Mishnah Berurah, therefore, Valitein Be'erev Shabbos Mayim L'soicha Koneh. Koneh is a tube. I used the example of a candle inside a keli. He's calling the keli a tube. You have the candle inserted into a tube, but the tube is bigger than the candle. So you could pour in water, and there will be water situated around the base of the candle. Says the Mishnah Berurah, to do that, so that the flame should become extinguished when it reaches the level of the water. Also l'kulei alma, that's also. And he brings this down from a Magen Avraham. The hamiskaven l'kibui, because over there you are being mechaven for kibui. You want to do kibui. And the eish is mamish going to come into the water, aka there's nothing interposing between the eish and the water. But if you have a great need to do this, you could be matter this. There are those paiskim that say that the only time this type of kibui is aser is like in the original case of Sif Daled in the Mechaber, is where you took a separate independent keli. You took a keli full of mayim, and you put it underneath a nair. The nair is in one keli, the nair is a candlestick or in a lamp, and the water is in a separate keli. It's a bowl full of water. That's when it's aser. But if this is the actual nair, if you have a situation where you could actually put water into the candlestick that's holding the candle, there's no room for a gzeira that you're not allowed to do this on Erev Shabbos because somebody might do it on Shabbos. Everybody knows that you can't handle a candlestick, a burning candlestick on Shabbos, so no one's going to do this on Shabbos. But if you're going to do this, says the Mishnah Berurah, you should make sure to put the water in before you light the nair. Everybody would agree that you're allowed to take a candle and put it into a base of sand on Erev Shabbos. Everybody would agree that would be mutter, and that closes out Siman Reish Samachay. Now we turn to Mem Amid Beis, Siman Reish Samachvav. Din mi shehechshech loy baderech. The halachos that apply to somebody who's traveling on the road, and he got stuck in traffic, and now it becomes Shabbos. Mi shehechshech loy baderech. It came to nightfall while he was traveling on the road. By Yud Gimel Seifim, and here we have 13 Seifim, says the Mechaber Sif Aleph. Mi shahaya baba derech. Somebody was traveling on the road, v'kidei shalav hayom, and it became nightfall, and now it's Shabbos. V'haya imai mois. He's carrying money. He has a wallet full of money. So he's traveling on the road, he has a wallet full of money on him, and now it's Shabbos. V'yesh lo chamoiroi, and he happens to have with him, how is he traveling? He's traveling by animal caravan. So he has a chamor, he has a donkey. V'yesh lo chamoiroi, he has a donkey. V'gam yeshimai ein Yehudi. He also has a companion, an ein Yehudi. So this guy is traveling on Shabbos. He got stuck in traffic. It's late. Hichshich loy baderech. Guess what? It's Shabbos. He's got a wallet full of money. He's traveling by donkey, so he has a donkey. He also has with him an ein Yehudi. He has an ein Yehudi traveling with him. Now the question over here is, what should he do with his wallet? He's got to unload his wallet. He can't be metaltal his wallet on Shabbos. His money, his wallet is muktzah. He also can't carry a dalar amas in Rishus Harabim. So if he's going to continue walking, he can't carry the wallet. He can't be maver dalan amis b'shus harabim. That's hoitzah. So what does he do with the wallet? Says the Mechaber, Lo yaniach kisai al chamoira. See, this guy has a choice in front of him. He has the wallet. He doesn't want to just throw the wallet on the ground and lose all his money. What should he do with the wallet? He has two choices. He could take the wallet and put it onto the donkey's back. So he could take the wallet and put it on the donkey. Or he could take the wallet and he could give it to the Eina Yehudi. Those are the two choices in front of him. Now let's analyze this for a second. To give the mois, to give the wallet to the Eina Yehudi on Shabbos, what is that? That's Amir Alakum. What you're doing is you're instructing an Eina Yehudi to carry your wallet for you on Shabbos. The wallet is muktzah. Well, muktzah is Rabbanon, but carrying the wallet is in a Daraisa. Carrying it to Al-Amas and Rishos HaRabim is in a Daraisa. So if you give it to the Eina Yehudi, what you're doing is you're being over an Amir Alakum. That's what you're doing. How about if you put it onto the donkey? Well, if you put it onto the donkey and the donkey goes ahead and carries your wallet Dalet Amos and Rishos HaRabim, guess what? You have an Issa Daraisa of Shvisas Behemtoi. You're not allowed to have your Behemah do Malacha for you on Erev Shabbos. The Pasuk says, Laman Yenuach Sharcha V'chamerecha. So to put the wallet on the donkey, you're infringing on an Issa Daraisa. To give the wallet to the Eina Yehudi, that's Amir Alakum. That's a Darabanan. So says the Mechaber, if you have this case where you're traveling, now it's Shabbos, you have money, you're trying to figure out what to do with it, and you have both a donkey and an Eina Yehudi, says the Mechaber, Lo yaniach kisei al chamorai, don't put the wallet on your donkey, mipnei shu mitzvah al shvisasai. You have a mitzvah of shvisas behemtai. So don't put it on the donkey. Instead, give the wallet to the Eina Yehudi to carry it for you. And on Motzei Shabbos, you'll take it back from him. Now, why are we matter you to give the money to the Eina Yehudi? That's Amir Lakum. Why are we? What we're saying over here is you seem to have two choices. You have one choice, put it on the chamar. Put it on the chamar, you're infringing on a daraisa, shvisas be'emtoi. Give it to the Eina Yehudi. So we're saying, okay, give it to the Eina Yehudi. Amir Lakum. Amir Lakum is the Darabanan. So don't be over on the daraisa, be over on the Darabanan. Give it to the Eina Yehudi, let the Eina Yehudi carry it for you on Shabbos. He'll give it back to you Motzei Shabbos. But isn't there a third option? Just lose the money. Drop it. Leave it on the ground, go weiter. Isn't that a third option? So as we're going to see, no, that's not a third option. The reason it's not a third option is because the Chazal knew if we're going to put this Yid into a situation where he's going to take a substantial financial loss, Adam bohul al memoinoi. When it comes to a big financial loss, people get flustered, people get panicked, and the guy's not going to drop the money. He's going to hold the money, and he's going to be maver the money Dalet Amos and Rishos HaRabim, and he's going to be over on a daraisa. So instead of putting this Yid into a situation where he's going to be over on a daraisa of hoitzah, instead we're matter him to give it to the Eina Yehudi and be over on the Darabanan of Amir La'akum. Let's go a little bit weiter in the Mechaber. The Mechaber says, and this is mutter, va'afil loy nasan loy schar al zeh. This is mutter even if you don't pay the Eina Yehudi. What does the Mechaber mean? Well, let's remember what we learned earlier. I think it was in Reish Mem Vav. If an Eina Yehudi does something for you, but you hired him as a kablan, so if you hired an Eina Yehudi to do a job and you're going to pay him by the job, then he's allowed to do malacha for you on Erev Yom Tov. You know why? Because we say he's not doing it for you. So says the Mechaber, really what you could do is you could tell the Eina Yehudi, listen, take the wallet, carry it for me on Shabbos. I will pay you $10 on Motzei Shabbos for the job of handling my wallet for the rest of the day. So now you made him a kablan. Now it's mutter. It's kablanis. Says the Mechaber, you don't need to do this. This is mutter. Even if you didn't make him a kablan, we are relaxing the Yisr of Amir Lakum, and we're going to allow you to do Amir Lakum and have the Eina Yehudi go ahead and carry it for you. And it's even mutter, even though you didn't do this on Erev Shabbos. You did it on Shabbos. You realized it was after Shkia, you realized it was after the zman, and you're giving the Eina Yehudi the wallet on Shabbos. So you're doing Amir Lakum on Shabbos. It's still mutter. Let's pause here for a second. Let's see in the Mishnah Berurah. Ois cut aleph. Chamoiroi. So this person is traveling on the road, and he has his donkey with him. Okay. The Mechaber couches this discussion in the language of Yesh Loi Chamoiroi. He has his chamor. He owns the chamor. That's why there's an Isser of Shvisas Behamtoi. He can't put the wallet on the chamor because it's his chamor, and because it's his chamor, he has a mitzvah of Shvisas Behamtoi. He can't have his chamor do malacha. If it wasn't his chamor, if it was somebody else's chamor, if it's a guy's chamor, then there's no Isser of Shvisas Behamtoi. But, says the Mishnah Berurah, after it's possible, Dehu adin kishasachar es a chamor me'ena Yehudi. The same halacha might be true if it's a rental donkey. If you rented the donkey from an Ena Yehudi, you might also have a chiyuv of Shvisas Behemtoi. Why? We learned about this earlier. The Yesh Ayim in the crowd, because there are those opinions that say the schirus kanya lechumra, that when you rent something, you're actually kaina it. When you rent something, it's actually yours. So if you rent a donkey from an Ena Yehudi, now lahalacha it's your donkey, and you have a mitzvah of Shvisas Behemtoi. And we say this l'chumra. L'chumra, for astringency, we say that schirus is kanya. So over here, we would worry l'chumra, and we would say if it's a rental donkey, it might be yours, and therefore there's still an inyan, there's still a mitzvah of shvisas behemtoi. So don't put the wallet on the rental donkey. Instead, give it to the Ena Yehudi. Aval, however, how about if you didn't rent the donkey? You rented the driver. You hired a donkey driver to take you traveling. But if you just hired a balagala, you hired a donkey man to take you for a ride on the donkey, then we don't have this shaila. You didn't rent the donkey. The donkey belongs to the driver. He's the one who feeds it. He's the one who's going to suffer the loss if the donkey dies. It's his donkey. It's not your donkey. You didn't rent this donkey. So over there certainly would be no problem of shvisas behemtoi. So in that situation, you would put the wallet on the chamar. Because if it's not your donkey and it's not your rental donkey and you have nothing to do with the donkey's the guy's donkey, so then why should you be over Amir al-Akum by giving the wallet to the Ena Yehudi? Instead, take the wallet and put it down on the chamar, and you're not being over any kind of isurim at all. However, yizayer shelo yia mechamer. But even if you're dealing with the Ena Yehudi's donkey, so you're going to put the wallet onto the donkey, make sure you don't do anything to make the animal move. Don't give him a zet to make a move. If there are words that you use to make a donkey go, don't do anything to encourage the donkey to go while he's carrying your wallet, because that would be the Issa Daraisa of Mechamer. Don't urge the animal to go, Mikoila using his voice, or Shardvarim, or by any other actions that will make the behema go. The Issa Mechamer Shayach Afilu ala behema she'ena shaloi laharbe paiskim kidel kamon. Because there are many paiskim that hold that the Issa Daraisa of Mechamer, of urging an animal to go and do malacha for you, that Isser is not only on your animal, that Isser might apply to any animal. Ice cutting bays. So the Mechaber said, you want to do something with the money, what should you do? You should give it to the Ena Yehudi to carry. Says the Mishnah Berurah, we explain this outside. Afsha Ena Yehudi shluchai lisa b'Shabbos. Even though by giving the wallet to the Ena Yehudi, you're making him your shliach to go carry your wallet for you. So he's doing meleches iser, he's doing the malacha of haitzah on Shabbos at your behest. That's classic Amir La'akum 101. So even though this is Amir La'akum, explains the Mishnah Berurah, Mikamakam hekelu chachamim. In this case, the chachamim were mekel, mishum dekiblahu, because they understood sha'adam bahol al mamoinai, that a person becomes flustered and panicked when it comes to his money. V'iloi sharislei, and if you're not matter him to do the Amir La'akum, asilidei iser chamor, he's going to end up being over an isser that's even more chomer. Sheyolich arba amayis b'rishus harabim. He's going to come to be over a daraisa. So in order to understand the next phrase in the Mishnah Berurah, let's just be very clear on this. You have to do something with your wallet. You seem to have three options. One, drop it on the ground and lose the money. That, Chazal said we're going to be makel. We're not going to make you do that. Choice number two, put it on the chamor. Put it on the chamor, you're very possibly infringing on an issa daraisa shvisis behemtoi. Give it to the Ein Yehudi. Give it to the Ein Yehudi. That's a mir lakum. A mir lakum is a derabanan. So from those three choices, the Chazal said to tell you to lose the money, we're not going to do. Why? Because Adam Baal al Mamoinoi, if we tell you to lose the money, what are you going to do? You're not going to lose the money. Instead, you're going to keep it in your pocket. And you're going to be over, you're going to be over the daraisa. So instead, we're going to be makel for you. We're going to tell you, go ahead and be over this at the rabbanon of Amir La'akum. So in this case, we have three choices. One, lose the money. One, shvisis behemto in issa daraisa. One, Amir La'akum in issa rabbanon. The choice that we make is the issa derabanan of Amir La'akum. But now let's tweak it a little bit, says the Mishnah Berurah. V'ayin ba'achrayim shekasu. Take a look at the achrayim who write. The bizman hazeh, nowadays, the leka rishus harabim l'kama paiskim. Many paiskim, and pashtus we paskin this way, hold that we don't really have real rishus harabims. Why don't we have real rishus harabims? Because if you remember, long time ago, when we learned Chelik Dalid, long time ago, when we discussed the different rishuyos on Shabbos, a real bona fide rishus harabim, according to many paiskim, is a street or a highway that's at least 16 amas wide, so somewhere in the area of 30 feet. But not only is it so large, it's a road that is used by 600,000 people. We don't have too many roads like that are that size and are used by 600,000 people, not in the shchuna at least. We're not talking about the Garden State Parkway or the New Jersey Turnpike. We're talking about the streets where we live. Those are not genuine bona fide rishus harabims, according to these paiskim, even if they're large streets, because they're not used by 600,000 people. So say the achrayim like this. The ayin ba'achrayim shekasvu, the bizman hazeh, the leka rishus harabim l'kama paiskim. Now, if the street's not a Rishus Harabim, what is it? It's a Carmelis. It's a Rishus Darabanan. Carrying Dalet Amos to the Carmelis is not an Issa Daraisa. Carrying Dalet Amos to the Carmelis is only an Issa Darabanan. Oh, now let's review our choices. If this fellow, who is now stuck on Shabbos with a wallet, is located not in a Rishus Harabim, but in a Carmelis, let's review the choices that are in front of him. One choice, lose the money. Another choice, keep the money and walk with the money, Dalet Amos, in a Carmelis. That's an Issa D'Rabbanan. Choice number 3, give it to an Ein Yehudi. That's also a Mir Lakum. It's also a D'Rabbanan. Which one should he do? He's got lose the money. We're not going to tell him lose the money. Why? Adam Baal al Mamoinoi. Okay, so what? He's not going to be... In the first way, we were saying, if he's Baal al Mamoinoi, he's going to carry it, be over in Issa D'Raisa. So rather, give it to an Ein Yehudi, be over Amir Lakum. But in this case, if he carries it, he's not going to be over in a Daraisa. If he's located in a Carmelis, because we paskin that most of our streets are not a Rishus Harabim, so even if he carries it, he's only over in a Darabanan. So maybe he should just carry it. Why should he give it to the Ein Yehudi? Say the Achrayim, no. Nami Dina Hachi. He should still give it to the Ein Yehudi. You know why? Because do the math. If he carries it in a Carmelis, he's going to be over in a Darabanan. He's carrying it Dalet Amos in a Rishus D'Rabbanan. He's over in a D'Rabbanan. If he gives it to an Ein Yehudi to carry it Dalet Amos in a Carmelis, what's he doing? He's doing Amir La'akum on a D'Rabbanan. He's asking an Ein Yehudi to do a malacha that's only awesome in D'Rabbanan. That's a shvus de shvus. That's a double D'Rabbanan. So given that choice, the Achrayim say, also give it to the Ein Yehudi. Because now choice number 1 is lose the money. Choice number 2 is carry it yourself. That's an Issa D'Rabbanan. Choice number 3 is give it to the Ein Yehudi, which is a shvus de shvus. So better do the shvus de shvus. Eis cut and gimel. Kisai le'Ein Yehudi. We're telling you, you should take the wallet and give it to the Ein Yehudi. Okay, now the Mishnah Berurah does a little bit of a deeper dive. And he takes a look at some of the other situations that might happen here. Let's say V'im yesh lo maseh kaved al hachamor. He's traveling, and it's not just his wallet that he has. He has suitcases in the saddlebags on the chamor. Oy ba'agola. Or maybe the chamor is pulling a wagon, and he has things in the wagon. Now, he cannot leave the packages on the donkey, and he cannot leave the packages in the agola, because again, that would mean that his chamor is doing work for him on Shabbos. So it's not just his wallet that's a problem. He has a problem what to do with his wallet. We're saying don't put the wallet on the donkey, because if you put the wallet on the donkey is going to carry your wallet. That's going to infringe on Shvisas Behemtoi. So give the wallet to the Ein Yehudi. But how about the suitcases? How about all the packages that are on the donkey, or that are in the wagon that are being pulled by the donkey? What are you going to do with those? Now, if you have heavy packages, you can't unload everything and give it to Tony to carry. Tony can't carry all of this. So what are you going to do with it? And the Eitzah that we're going to see Mir Hashem tomorrow in Sif Beis, you also don't have. What's the Eitzah of Sif Beis? In Sif Beis, we're going to see another Eitzah. You know what that is? Take all the packages off the donkey while the donkey's at a standstill. Then let the donkey start walking. Then while the donkey is walking, load the packages onto the donkey while the donkey is walking. That's another eitzah. Why? Because then the donkey is not doing a full malacha. We know that the complete malacha of hitzah, what we call carrying on Shabbos, entails different parts. There's an akira and a hanacha. There's picking up the object that you're carrying and putting it down. Now, when the donkey starts walking, that's the akira, when he uproots himself from his place. But if you put a package on the donkey while the donkey is walking, then the donkey never did an akira. So then the donkey never did the complete malacha of hitzah at your behest, and it could be that that's not an infringement on Shvisas Behemta. But says the Mishnah Berurah, what if you have all of these packages and you have no eitzah? You can't unload the donkey and unload the wagon and give everything to the Ein Yehudi. He can't carry it all. You also can't do this eitzah of unloading everything while the behemoth is at a standstill and then loading it back piece by piece while the behemoth is walking. It's just not practicable. So what do? Says the Mishnah. I'll tell you what you do. You know what you do? You relinquish ownership of the donkey. How do you relinquish ownership of the donkey? Give it to the Ein Yehudi. Gift it to the Ein Yehudi. But the Mishnah Berurah says you have to make sure to do it kedin Torah. What does that mean, kedin Torah? You have to make sure that you use a type of kinyan that the Ein Yehudi is actually going to be kind of the chamar and take over ownership of the chamar. Ayin bir halacha dibra maschal noisein for more detail. V'em ein baki b'darkei kinyan hatzarich lazeh. If you don't know the ins and outs of Choshe Mishpat, and you don't know which kinyanim to use to make sure that the Ein Yehudi is going to take over ownership of the donkey, so then yafkirenu b'fnei shloisha. Be mafkir the chamar, relinquish ownership. But do it in front of 3 people. Because remember, we learned earlier, hefker me'ikar adin, we want it to be in front of 3 people. Or if you don't have 3 people, so at least be mafkir it beinoy lebein atzmai. But relinquish ownership of the donkey. Daz enei over al issa shvisas behema. Now you have no problem of the Isser or Shvisas Behemtoi because it's not your animal. Shabehema in a shalah. V'yered min ha'gola, and get off the donkey. Because even if the donkey is not yours, you're not allowed to ride a donkey on Shabbos. You're not allowed to be mishtamish with a Baal Chai on Shabbos. That's it. This is D'Rabbanan. So I don't care who owns the donkey, you can't ride on it. Also make sure that you don't do anything to encourage the donkey to move, because that would be the Issa Deraisa of Mechamer. And even if you employ all of these heterim, Shemachar HaKoil, you sold the donkey, or Hifkir, or you amafkir the donkey, it's still an issue. You have to be very careful. I hope I'm understanding this Mishnah Berurah properly. I see that a lot of people have trouble with this paragraph in the Mishnah Berurah. I don't know if there's a boat that I'm missing, but to me what the Mishnah Berurah is saying is very simple. What the Mishnah Berurah is saying is like this. You got stuck on the road on Erev Shabbos. We're telling you how to comport yourself. When you got stuck on the road on Erev Shabbos, it's Shabbos, What do you do? What do you do with your wallet? What do you do with your suitcases? What do you do with your shopping bags? What do you do? So we're giving you all sorts of answers. Take the wallet, give the wallet to the Ein Yehudi. You have suitcases on the chamor. You have suitcases in the wagon. All right, be bafker the chamor, sell the chamor to the Ein Yehudi. We're telling you all sorts of answers that you should do, right? But there are a certain amount of things. If you're unloading things from the wagon, there are certain things that you're going to keep available. You can't keep them on your person, but maybe you're stopping for a minute. So you have stuff out there. Make sure that on Shabbos you don't slip up and take something and put it onto the chamar or put it onto the wagon, even if it's not yours, even if it belongs to the Ein Yehudi. Why? Because you're not allowed to be mishtamish with a Baal Chai on Shabbos. Also make sure you don't give anything later, Shabbos morning. Don't give something to the Ein Yehudi to carry. Because again, now it's Amir La'akum that you're doing. The Amir La'akum that we were matir at the beginning of Shabbos, Adam Bahol Alma Moinoi. So we let you unload what you needed to unload. But now you're still traveling a whole Shabbos. A whole Shabbos you're going to have shilas. Make sure that you don't give something to the Ein Yehudi to carry. The Dan you should know. The Mashakasav Afiluloi. I read to you the Mechaber. The Mechaber says that you're allowed to do this Amir La'akum and have the Ein Yehudi carry your wallet, even if you didn't pay him, even if you didn't make him a kablan. So you didn't create a situation of Nachri Adaita Denav Sheikavad. You're still in a situation of Amir La'akum, it's mutter anyway. V'da, you should know, says the Mishnah Berurah, the Masha Kosav Afilu Loi, Hel Yerabim Mitzadid Loimar, the El Yerabim takes the position, the Imu Mi Ba'od Yom. If you catch on to this problem before Shabbos started, so a half hour before the zman, you realize, hey, we're going to be stuck on the road on Shabbos. So then take the time to do it properly. So then, Tov Yosef Sheyiten Schar. So then make the Nachri a kablan. Don't tread on Amir La'akum if you don't have to. We're giving you the Eitzah, we're giving you the heter of Amir La'akum because you got stuck. It's Shabbos already. What are you going to do? So now we're going to be matir you Amir La'akum. But if you catch on an hour before Shabbos, sit down with the Ein Yehudi, tell him, look, I'm making you a kablan. I'll pay you $10 for the job of taking care of my stuff for Shabbos, and don't be over in Amir La'akum. V'afal pishin is sanai, even though the Mechaber said, even though you're doing this on Shabbos itself, it's mutter. Not lashon di'evid. The Mishnah Berurah points out that if you are medayik in the lashon of the Mechaber is using a lashon of di'evid. Even though you gave it to him in the past tense on Shabbos, does that mean that you're not allowed to do this l'chatchila? This is only b'di'evid? It's mutter if you already did the Amir La'akum? Says the Mishnah Berurah. No, the reason he uses l'sh di'evid, mishum de l'chatchila al karchay tzarech litain miba'od yom, because l'chatchila you should do this miba'od yom mishum Mr. Muktzah. You're talking about your wallet. Your wallet is muktzah. So really, you should be giving the wallet to the Ein Yehudi miba'od yom if you want to do this l'chatchila. Okay, last piece of Sif Aleph over here, 3 lines to the bottom near the beginning of the line. Fine. So we're telling you that you got caught on Shabbos, you have your wallet, you have money, you're allowed to give it to the Ein Yehudi. Why are you allowed to give it to the Ein Yehudi? Because Chazal understood Adam Bohol al Mamoinai. We're not going to put you in a pickle where you're going to have a choice of losing $500 or being over Nissa Daraisa of Haitzah, so we're going to be matter Amir La'akum to go and give it to the Ein Yehudi. Aval, but, says the Mechaber, in Matzah Mitzia, let's say you're walking Friday night, you're still traveling Friday night, you're walking on the road, you're not carrying your wallet anymore, you already divested yourself of your wallet, you gave it to the Ein Yehudi. Now you find something valuable. Maybe you even find something valuable that's not muktzah. And you go ahead and you pick it up. You're not going to carry it to Alanamas and Rishos Harabim. You pick it up. Oh, wow, look at this. Wow, cool. Look at what I found. But now you have a problem. You can't carry it. Are you allowed to do Amir La'akum and give it to the Ein Yehudi to carry it for you? Says the Mechaber, no. You can't go ahead and take a mitzia that you find and give it to the Ein Yehudi to carry for you. Only if you found that mitzia while it was still Erev Shabbos. If you found the mitzia on Erev Shabbos, so then when Shabbos comes in, you can even give it to the Ein Yehudi, because Adam Bahal al Mamoinoi. Now that valuable mitzia has the same status as your own wallet. But if you find it on Shabbos, you can't pick it up and give it to the Ein Yehudi and ask the Ein Yehudi to carry it for you. Says the Mishnah Berurah, why is that? Over here, we're not going to say Adam Bohol al Memoinoi. And if we don't allow you to give it to the Ein Yehudi, you're going to go carry it and be over Daraisa of HaTorah. No. This is a gift that came to you. This is a mitzvah that came to you. This is not money that you worked hard for. This is something that came to you on Shabbos. We're not afraid that a Yid is going to be over in Issa Daraisa because he's going to get flustered and panicked because he's going to lose a mitzvah that was never his. Says the Mishnah Berurah, he's not going to care about it that much. A Yid is not going to be over this daraisa of Haitzah, Dalar Amis in Rishus Harabim for a mitzvah. Even if we're not matter Amir Lakum, we're not choishish, you're going to go to carry it. We're going to stop over here. Thank you so much for joining me for limud HaTorah. The source of limud HaTorah should be megan against Klal Yisrael. The Rosh Hashanah should send Yeshua's reverse panasat sheduchim tol as in need. We should be zoichet to see the BS Gal Tzedek. B'mhera v'yameinu amen. Be well.